The classic example I give everyone is Empire State Building was built in 19 months, designed to build 1931, and Salesforce Tower took 7 years, 85 years later, designed to build. So 85 years later, we are like 4x less productive. So what happened?
Great to have you on the Slice of Construction podcast. How are you today?
Good. Thanks for having me. Yeah.
Super excited to chat. Would love to kind of start off by saying you've built $1 billion company in healthcare. You had every reason to do healthcare again. What happened? Tell our audience.
Yeah, I get that question asked a lot from investors and customers. I think the kind of the seeding part of it started when me and my wife moved to this house in Berkeley, where we stay right now, in 21, bought the house. So it was an amazing house, a great backyard and front yard, but the interiors had to be redone. It was a 1938 and was not updated too much. So we overtook the undertaking of remodeling the house. And in that whole experience, whatever we were quoted as budget and timeline, both exceeded by 50%. And I thought I was the unlucky one. I asked around all my friends, and they're like, you did fine. It only ran 50% over budget and over time, you did fine. And I asked myself, how can that be possible? That doesn't sound about right. So I went deep and deep into this. I realized two things. It's not. So first of all, we all know this crazy chart that the productivity in the industry is declining for the last 4 decades. We used to make more houses with the same 40 years ago than we make now, or even office buildings. The classic example I give everyone is Empire State Building was built in 19 months, designed to build 1931, and Salesforce Tower took 7 years, 85 years later, designed to build. So 85 years later, we are like less productive. So what happened? And I don't blame the industry. They're doing amazing job. They are being very, they're hustling. Everyone's hustling. Architects, engineers, contractors, they're all hustling and they're all trying to get the work done. The problem in this industry that I feel is uh, it's the fragmented. You require about 40 skills to build a building: an architect, a mechanical engineer, electrical, acoustic, and so on and so forth. These 40 skills were housed under 3 companies when a Biostate building was built. These 40 skills are housed under 30 companies now. A developer only hires an architect and a contractor, but they in turn hire consultants and subcontractors. And eventually, it's a group of 30 companies and 100 members getting involved in building a big office building. And that's where things start to break a lot. But you know what, Jared, the biggest thing for me was AI has been a game changer. This is a big technology shift. People might believe that it's not there yet, which I get it. In some cases it is, in some cases it's not, but it's getting there. What we're seeing is the worst of what we saw in AI today. It's all getting just better, right? So when I saw construction, I saw this industry is full of documents and images and drawings and plans. And the technology for the last 20 years could not help this industry, or images and drawings and documents and plans, which technology could not understand or even go deeper. Humans had to understand it. With AI, things change. AI can eventually, if not today, understand documents and images and schedules and plans. Can this help all these fragmented stakeholders to come together and plan things better? Is what I saw as a big opportunity, and I just
Now, I want to point something out. I know a lot of our listeners. Thank you for sharing. A lot of our listeners are well aware what this term means, but we do have occasionally some listeners that are just learning about construction for the first time. And I know this is a big part of what you're doing. So, like pre-construction, a lot of people have never heard that word before.
yeah.
You know, you're like betting your career on this. Make me understand why it's the most important concept in the entire built world.
Yeah, absolutely. I think even I did not know this term up until 3 years ago, right? So I get it. When we think of construction, we think of hammers and nails and cranes and girls, right? We don't think of any planning jobs or desk jobs in construction. What happens is when you're building let's say a house, you get into a 2 to 3 months at least, sometimes even 6 months of planning. You haven't dug a single hole. You haven't, you know, clicked a single hammer. It's just planning for those 3 to 6 months. For a hospital, it might even take 2 years to just plan, not even dig a single hole, right? Before that. Why it takes so much time? Well, things have become more complex. Buildings have become more complex. So an architect might design only the structural, the core pieces, the doors and windows and floor plans, while the structural engineer will design the structural pieces, the mechanical engineer will figure out how the HVAC system and the air conditioning will work in your office. Engineer will figure out how does the whole plumbing happen. So there are like different stakeholders who are planning, and if one person changes their plan, the other people have to change their plans too. So, and I tell this to my engineers, my software engineers, not the mechanical engineers, is you guys are lucky because when you ship a code, a software out, and it's buggy, you can fix it. In construction, you can't have a buggy building. You can't have a bug in a building. It has to be like bug free. Planning is all about how can we make things bug free? How can we make it defect free? And how do we have we thought of everything before we start building it on? Because what happens is if we haven't spent a lot of time in planning, what, what I call is pre-construction, that means to call this pre-construction, is you get a lot of chaotic movements and stressful moments during construction. Oh, we didn't think about that. How do we change the steel beams don't fit now? The foundation anchor boards are not, tied to the layout of the plumbing. So all that stuff starts to break. Okay? So it's important. Some owners also who want to get fast into construction make this mistake. It's like spend more time in planning before construction because if you do, you will save money down the road in construction. So that's what pre-construction is all about. And what I and my co-founder call Tanmay, who's from the industry, we call it the productivity game in construction is won or lost in pre-construction, not during construction. It's the planning phase. If you do it right, you will gain productivity. Your cost of construction will go down. You will ship things faster. So planning is more important than actually building.
It's funny you say that because I was listening to another podcast the other day, the Lenny's product podcast. I don't know if you've checked. It's one of my favorite, and they were just talking about like Claude Code and these platforms now, and they were saying so many industries now, thanks to these like advanced coding tools, are shifting from there was all these different processes, but now if you are able to really focus in on the clarity, it ensures the success of any. This is different than construction, but I'm sure a lot of it still applies. If you are really skilled in giving the right clarity and having the right clarity before you start anything, it really makes it go from there's a chance this fails to there's only a chance that this succeeds. It's really interesting.
Yeah, no, you're right. I mean, there actually is a very good similarity, which is in software development, what has come up with Cloud Code is the mere act of writing a code has become commoditized because Cloud Code can do it now for you. The advantage and the beauty is lies in the part of are you planning it properly? Are you thinking through it? The act of planning has become more important than the act of doing it or coding it. This will happen in construction too. Let's quit ourselves 5 years out, 10 years out. There are physical robots on site or in prefab. They're doing in the building, at least in the critical areas where we don't want to send humans and save their lives or their injuries, right? The act of doing will become commoditized, but the act of planning is going to be more and more important.
It's it's so interesting. What an amazing time we live in.
Yeah.
It's I was telling someone the other day, we were laughing just with everything with Claude Code. You could be messing around even on a project now, and all of a sudden something new comes out that day that makes you rethink how you were doing it the day before. And I can't remember. I mean, I don't know if we've ever experienced a time like this, right? Where technology is moving so rapidly. Yeah, it's really interesting. I'm very excited to see where things continue to go from here. Next, I want to make sure I go into the next question too. But I love what you're saying. I read somewhere, I forget where I read this, but your AI is passing the building inspector exams at a 95% or higher, which is just so remarkable. But I think it also raises a question. I don't know if it has an easy answer or not. At what point does the machine become the authority on what's safe for humans to inhabit?
That's a great question. Let me answer that in a moment. Let me address the first part first, which is the moment we started building these AI systems, which understands construction world pretty well. Uh, my first point on the team was, how do we evaluate are we doing good or bad? Right? How do we know we are giving the good answers or the bad answers? Right? Because it's easy to check if you're spitting out numbers and the numbers are good or not. If you're spitting out text, like how do you know it's good or not, right? So we have been doing proxy measurements like the building inspector one. So we have a product which helps does code research for you or helps do code research for you. So architects, engineers, inspectors, and design build firms can use it. But the way we know it's we said let's all the building inspectors have to pass an exam every year to be certified building inspectors, or it is renewed there. There are some firms who provide practice tests for those building inspector examinations. We amassed all the, we built a list of 3,000 questions and we made our AI pass that every time to make sure we're doing well or not, right? Now, we evolved from 75% when we started to about 95% now, right? Which is far better than what ChatGPT or Gemini or Claude can do because well, they are good in their own thing, but they're a general purpose tool. We are built specifically for construction. Now, back to your question, if it goes to a 99.5%, does it become well? I always call it the way people confused with AI and agents is we use AI agents in our work as well. Like we have AI agents which drafts emails. We have AI agents that does marketing. We have AI agents that you know do coding now. Right? We treat them as employees, like they're humans, and even the AI agents have to be checked. Someone is to supervise them every day. We have a marketing person who supervises our marketing agents. He or she checks in every day and figures out are the agents working fine or not. Just the way you would check on an employee. So the world I see is yes, it might become really productive and really smart and really whatever. But the main thing is we still need to supervise it. So there will always be supervisions on the machines as well from humans.
So in some cases, robots versus people actually doing the work, the whole workflow doesn't change all too much. It just, in some cases, it gets sped up because now an agent or a robot is doing it. But without those guardrails in place, right, where someone is still supervising it, we still need that supervision. Do you think there will be a time in the near future where we feel so confident we don't even need the supervision?
In some workflows, yes. Has AI reached to a level that can solve everything? No. And will it get there? Probably not. But in many cases, so let's divide the human brain thinking into like three different parts, right? One is cognitive thinking or strategic thinking, right? And then one is analytical, or like am I adding two numbers 1,000 times? That's a mundane task, right? That's what calculators did for us, or Excel sheets did for us, right? In the past, so you could just drag down either Excel and add two columns into a new column, right? So that was a mundane task of analytical thinking, doing it like 1,000 times. if you extrapolate that further, there will be a lot of tasks where human gets fatigued over time. Like if human does that task again and again and again, they get fatigued over time. So reading 1,000-page spec documents, AI can do a much better job than a human has, right? A human will get fatigued reading those 1,000-page spec documents. Or AI checking for code issues. That's what we're doing. Uh, there is, you go to one code section, it says cite the other code section. It says they're flipping books day and night. Human gets fatigued. So wherever humans get fatigued with time is where AI will excel. I think where a human will still have the ingenuity is the creativity. Creative thinking and cognitive thinking is where humans will still excel. And I'd still have a place, you know, in like, no one thought that we can shift a part of the schedule in construction, reverse the order of the construction, and the time will get saved. If no one thought about that before, AI will not know it too. But if someone creative things are on the feet and say like, hey, let's flip the order of this construction and so save us time. Great, amazing. Yeah, I would say to, to summarize, analytical and long overdue task, which makes human fatigued, AI will excel. And cognitive, creative thinking, AI will, humans will still. So
I'd love you to continue to elaborate. You mentioned earlier, right, that robots will continue doing some of the, especially the jobs that become dangerous for humans on the job site. If you close your eyes and take me to a construction site in 2045, what does it look like if MeltPlan works exactly the way you believe it can and continues to grow to that point?
three big changes. One is there will be more prefabs. And for the audience, what I mean by that is we will build smaller parts of the building uh, out, out of the job site somewhere else before. It takes months, sometimes weeks, sometimes years to get permits. And why can't you build something off-site and not on-site until you get the permit in parts? The problem today is it's not accepted for multiple reasons. It's sometimes the same cost or slightly expensive, or it's transportation hassle. The bigger part is no one wants to firm up on a plan right there, right now, in the planning phase. Everyone wants the plan to be a bit fluid. In prefabs, you can't have fluid plans. You need to have started done. We have planned everything, we have thought of everything, we can't change anything now. When planning becomes more rigorous and more comprehensive, prefabs will pick up. So there'll be more prefabs, which make me kind of think that there will be more robotics in factories, in prefab factories versus on site. And that's more controllable as well, because building a general attack and adhere to any job site in any weather conditions is a lot of work. I can work in rain and snow and gravel and sand and concrete, and it's kind of tough. Can they work in every clearance width they need or depth they need? It gets tricky. But can they start making prefab components factories now? Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Right. So there'll be more planning of, as we build Legos with our kids, Lego blocks. There will be those prefab Lego blocks that will get built out, and they get built out in factories, and robots will do it, and humans will just supervise the stitching of them together.
And this will all be done off-site. Will there still be some parts of that prefab process that will be done on-site as well?
Sure. I mean, anything that's heavy, I can see an argument why you know uh, precast has lower cost on concrete, but there could be some concrete pours or whatnot which would be done on site. Or if anything that needs to be stitched together, like you need to stitch a bathroom part next to a corridor, all that stitching together has to be done on site. But there will be still work on site. I mean, I don't think there won't be. It's just that it's easier. It has to see robots making Lego blocks, prefab Lego blocks in factories than me squinting my eyes and says robots can Pour concrete and masonry and drywall and everything else, that's a bit far fetched. It's like,
Interesting. Last question or two before we start to wrap up here. What do you think about when you can't sleep?
you know, my biggest problem right now is there is too much to solve in construction or in my world, pre-construction. There are so many things to solve, and I was always thinking about how can we get faster at solving them? How can I scale our teams? How can I scale our processes to attack? And whenever I meet customers, we're right now solving code research, we are getting into bid management and bid leveling. I have like 10 other things to solve. That my customers are saying, hey, can you also solve this? Can you also solve that? So there's a lot of things to solve in pre-construction. So for me, it's like, how can we get there faster? Like my vision is 5 years out, we should be in a place that architects and engineers can check in their plans, and our system can tell them on the spot within 1 or 2 hours, is this plan code compliant? What's this going to make? What's it going to cost to build this plan out? And what's going to, what time will it take to build this out? Are there any options to save money or make more money from this plan? Can we change the plan a bit to make it more? All these four questions are what owners ask. My point is just keep on checking plans to our system every day with new changes, and it tells you what to do next. If we can come to that stage, I always tell owners, and I am a owner as well in two projects myself with construction, so I kind of know the pain. And I've done two build outs, and my constant pain is every time I want to do a change, it takes 6 to 8 weeks for people to come back and say, "Is this plan possible or not? Is this change possible or not?" I talk about 5 changes. I'm 1 year into planning only, no construction. It's all pre-construction, right? I want to get to a stage when we as owners can ask for 35, 50 changes, and the answers come back in a day or two, so that within 5 to 6 months we're done with pre-construction. So I want to see that world, and to get to that world, there's a lot of build out. My only non-sleep is how can I get there faster.
I like it. Last question, and then we'll wrap up. Are there any companies out there other than MeltPlan in the construction tech space that you really admire, or like what maybe the founders are doing or the problem that they're solving? Any that come to mind?
Yeah, there are a few. I would say one is Motif.io, and Amar's a good friend. And Motif is solving collaboration between architects and engineers in the design process. We are helping in the planning process, not the design process. And he was ex CPO and CEO of Waterdesk, so he has a stellar team with him, and they're rethinking how design collaboration happens. So they're doing a good job there. There's a company called Augmenta, which is doing electrical routing and then takeoffs. So coordination, 3D coordination of electrical routing and takeoffs. They're thinking the right way. And why I admire all these companies is they are solving hard problems. They're not attaching a thin wrapper on OpenAI or Claude and giving a demo. So they're solving the hard problems in the hard way, and that's what makes a long and dated company. And we are doing the same, which is I love when Fed founders solve hard problems and stay patient until it's solved.
I love it. Thank you so much for joining me on the podcast here today. I really enjoyed our conversation. I know I'll be cheering on for MeltPlan from the sidelines, and definitely keep us up to date on anything that's new and exciting that you want to come and chat about. And thank you again so much.
Thank you, Jared. Let's stay in touch.